Good evening and welcome to Ancestor House. My name is Dami Akinusi. I'm a filmmaker. I also run Darkling Productions, and this evening I am your host. Yes, I am sitting in for the distinguished Nana Camille Yarbrough once again, and I'm very happy to be coming out to you, my wonderful audience. This evening we have a wonderful show once again. Tonight, actually, in fact, we're going to just switch it up a little bit, turn on the slow, smooth music, because we're talking about sexual relationships. Now, we all kind of go, ooh, sexual relationships. But when we think about the music that we listen to every day, all day, commercial music, and some of the tones that we hear in the conversation and the language, it is actually very sexual. So now we're going to bring it back to the conversation about sexual relationships and how we can have, how the relationships can have a magical effects on our lives, and just how we can really get down with our brothers and sisters and make things work. Because we're in a new age now where it's very easy to be very free and independent, and in fact it's very easy not to consider the other person that we share our lives with, because it's about the individual. But how do we bring it back to unity? Well, today my two wonderful guests will tell us all about that, and I look forward to discussing more about sexual relationships here on Ancestor House. So come on in, why don't you? Pull up a seat. Enjoy.
Story is bad. Not to want to know it is worse. But to pass on ignorance to someone.
Oh, cool. Oh, wonderful, wonderful. Hi, welcome to Ancestor House. My name is Dami Akinusi, and I'm your guest host for this evening. I have two wonderful guests, and I'm going to get straight into it, because today we're talking about sexual relationships. And I feel like I could be immature and go, oh my goodness, sexual relationships. But when you hear what this brother and this sister has to say, you'll be very excited too to hear this information. So welcome. First of all, let me hope I say your names correctly. Aziziel.
Yes.
Yes. Wonderful. And Marjade.
Exactly.
Wonderful.
Yes.
Well, welcome to Ancestor House.
Thank you.
Please tell us a little bit more about who you are, first of all.
Well, we are part of a great movement that's actually shaping up now that most people call metaphysical movement, which incorporates other movements, because metaphysics right now is probably the highest science we know as far as in the community area. But what is called metaphysics was in actuality ancient Shamitic science. When Europeans came in and took over, what was Shamitic became more of different types of medicine and various other things. So what we're doing is actually going back and getting that history and reawakening those things that exist already within us. So sometimes you may hear something, and by the way, let me just stop, because the first thing I wanted to do was kiss my wife.
Oh.
Since we're talking about sexual relationships. When's the last time you saw a couple, because we travel a lot, and when we stop and hug and kiss on the street, people actually stop us because they don't see that.
Sure.
Now there's something desperately wrong with that. Now, what was I talking about earlier?
Well, sorry, what do they say when they stop you on the street?
Well, they say we look alike, number one.
Well, they go, oh, wow,
Yeah.
good, brother, and all of this kind of stuff,
Exactly.
So they will stop us, and they just don't see things like that. And,
No.
and if you really think about it yourself, you don't see it either. So we need displays of these types of things so that generations, even, I guess I would say generations below, but even above, can look at that and say, wow, that exists. That exists.
But we were taught no PDA at school, like personal displays of affection,
Right.
because it's maybe it's distracting to other young people, that type of thing. But we're not, it's not sort of natural just to come up and hug people, and people have their space.
Well, it's actually a science to that, and I was just talking to the elder here, and she shook my hand, which is okay. Her spirit is beautiful, the energy is wonderful, but that is something that men did to make sure the other man didn't have a weapon. So, with my knowledge of that, when I shake her hand, I'm like, it just doesn't resonate correctly for me. So I have what's called a greeting for the feminine energy, which is the X chromosome,
Exactly.
whereas
Okay.
the man is the Y chromosome.
Okay.
So you greet each other that way because in ancient times we knew that you were a universe, and universes don't collide like that. And when they do, they synergize, they stay together. So you don't stay together with everyone that
Right.
you may shake your hand with.
Right.
And then you also pick up energies. People have all kinds of energies. So you could go home with something on your hand and wondering why your life has changed, why you're arguing with your spouse, because you picked up energy that you did not get rid of before or realize within yourself to take care of.
Because a lot of people are very sensitive to the touch, especially me. I really don't touch, men. I do the bowing, and a lot of times they just want to run and hug, but right away my hands go up and I bow. The females are, a little different, because it's just a natural thing. We're just naturally nurturing
Yes.
and things
Right.
like that. So, I do welcome that. But,
And it's interesting because it's the unseen energy. So
Right.
so it's hard sometimes to think that we're just transferring energies to each other all the time, even by connecting in certain ways. But it's true when you go into rooms and someone's just been having an argument, you can
Yes,
sort of
yes,
cut the
energy is-
air with a knife.
It's actually it goes even deeper than that.
Yes.
You don't even want to walk behind certain people on the street because human beings have trails that they leave behind of garbage like a slug.
Slugs.
So you don't just walk out of your house and just start walking, and there are all kind of people with problems. They're cursing, they're going mad, and all these kind of, especially now. Especially if you never did this before or learned this before, now's the time to learn it. You want to keep your energy field clean. In order for the more stuff you put into your auric field, your auric field gets thick. And I hope you understand what an auric field is. That's what your
So our
chakras generate
auras.
this power. And your energy field gets thick, and then now you want something done or you need something done, and it's your thoughts can't get through because there's too much thickness there. Not like a child, who doesn't have all that stuff.
Right.
It gets through very easily. But as an adult, you have to be aware of these things, and your food intake represents your thoughts.
Wow, I can imagine that.
Yeah.
Because
So
because with the auric field, sometimes you could approach someone and say, I don't know what it is, but I'm not feeling this person. So it is that auric field that you're feeling. You
Yeah.
know.
And that's why we have the saying, it's like, I'm not really feeling you.
Right,
Right.
exactly.
So is this what we class as metaphysics? Is this under one umbrella? If someone was saying, I'm really into this, what do we call it?
Right.
Do we say this is called metaphysics, and or does it need to have a name?
Well, metaphysics means the physics that you can't see. It's like the air that you breathe.
Exactly.
Okay, so just like a person can walk into a room and light up a whole room, people will start clapping and standing up, and it has to do a lot, not only what they know about him, but his auric field. So energy is extremely important, and that's why we're here today to talk about energies as far as what we have not been taught, in our youth and so on. I mean, I didn't learn anything about sex till I was like, I think I stayed a virgin till I was like 25. It's much earlier for a woman, but for me, I wasn't into that aspect of it. I was trying to make me some money. But when I finally began to do that, I discovered a lot of things, and I studied it. I actually studied sexuality for many, many, many years. And what's happening today is on purposely done. Just recently, and we're going to talk about this tomorrow at Nicholas Bookstore.
Right, so this is the
At
event
3
that you
o'clock,
have in
yes.
Brooklyn. Right,
Right,
and that's on Fulton Street, is
On
it?
Fulton Street. And
Right
I'm
across
all,
the street from Junior's, I think.
right, from the new Jay-Z
Thing and all
Right
that.
near
place
the
over
center, the
there.
Barclays
Yes.
Center.
Barclays
just up
Center,
the
right.
road
And
from
I'm also
that.
going to spin my chakras there. I'm an avid hula hooper. you know, so, you know, you just keep the infinity going.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun.
This is what's going to happen at the event?
It's going to be
Right.
powerful.
Okay, wow.
You want to try to check that out.
right.
It's going to be very powerful.
Because it keeps you balanced. You know, a lot of,
Okay.
you know, women, once you hit like a certain age, 50, whatever, you know, you just have to keep a certain level of balance. You know, sometimes you just go a little off and you don't know why.
Right,
You
right.
know, so that's why, you know, with the hula hooping, it totally keeps you centered. You know, and it's a lot of fun.
Ah, do you have to hula hoop with, you know, different crystals and stuff like that, or is it just the motion of hula
Just the
hooping?
spiral that you're doing.
Okay.
Exactly.
Cool.
Sacral plexus, solar plexus, and root chakra, and so forth. And
Yeah.
you spin them in different directions to depending on what kind of energy you need.
Right.
You spin it to the right if you need more spiritual energy, and you spin to the left if you need more physical energy.
Exactly.
Which-
If you need both.
Do both.
Oh, wow.
You do the left first, and then you go to the right, left, which is what I do
Okay.
when I do it.
Yeah.
So.
And it's wonderful. I mean, this event obviously is going to be talking about, you know, sexual relationships. But just for those people out there who already, when you talk about, you know, the chakras and crystals and healing and all of that type of thing, you know, they start thinking about sort of Eastern philosophies and yoga and, oh, I'm going to be a hippie now. It's way different from that, obviously. So how, you know, how would one get inducted into being more kind of balanced, as you said?
Well, I'm a jewelist. I don't even know what to call myself. I'm a creator. Put it like that. I'm a creator. I love to create. I work with my hands, and that's another reason why I don't touch a lot of people, because I could feel things that sometimes I don't want to feel, you know. So, you know, I have a piece here if you'd like to see it. As a matter of fact, this is the Ankh. I love making Ankhs. It's almost to the point where I just channel in, you know, from my pineal gland and just, you know, make Ankhs. It's like, how could I say? I could see things and just make it. So, you know, like, especially like for the women, sometimes you just need to relax yourself, or, you know, because sometimes you get a little, so it's good to go into yourself, go deep into yourself and create, because we are the original creators.
Absolutely.
You know,
absolutely.
so create
And why the
whatever it
Ankh,
is.
by the way?
That's exactly what I was about to mention.
Oh, really? Well,
Yes.
here we are.
Go ahead,
You'll
we'll take
notice
it away.
not only does she have an ankh, hold that up. You'll also notice that she has an ankh in the forehead.
And that's a tattoo, right?
Yes, that's
You
a
better
tattoo.
So
know
that's
it
a
is.
brave step that you
Yes,
made
yes.
right there.
It
That's
It felt good too.
Right on your third eye.
Exactly.
Wow.
Exactly.
Yes,
So-
your third eye, normally known as your pineal gland, is exactly in the center of the brain, which is right at the bridge of the nose and in the center of the brain. It would look like at this point here,
Right.
longitude, latitude, straight down from the top. What happens is one of the sciences of the Ankh coming out of Egypt was to meditate on the Ankh symbol, because the opening of the Ankh, which is here, represents the pineal gland, and let me see that piece. And the arms on the Ankh always represented the left and right brain, and this was coming down the nose here, the bridge of the nose,
Right.
left and right brain, and then the pineal gland. So now if you had a royal blue Ankh, like hers is, and surrounded in brown, like hers is, it's a very grounding and balancing technique, okay?
Yeah, I used to fall a lot, like just be so off balance. But once I got the Ankh there, never
Really?
happened
I think I
again.
might have to do that then, because I'm always
And it's very
moving
powerful
over.
too, it's
Exactly.
very powerful.
It is.
Wow, wow. So that's why it's the Ankh, and you know, and does a lot of what you describe in metaphysics, you know, as opposed to what Western academics would describe, does it link back to ancient Kemet more in terms of where you get your historical information from?
You know, it's very interesting that you mentioned that, because now metaphysics is curriculum based.
Yes.
They teach it. It's a course you can go to college for now
That's
and get a
right.
degree in and a doctorate.
That's so awesome.
Yeah.
That's
so
really cool.
so
It is.
so the information dealing with metaphysics goes far and way beyond what we know, and it goes all the way into levels of space. I mean, we can go all the way into Polaris, and it's the information that is unseen. So that's a lot of information. And I always tell my wife here that you know, when you get information on things or get a lot of knowledge, then you really know that you don't know anything, because it's a lot of information.
You're
out there.
constantly learning.
And I've been studying now for maybe 30, 40 years, constant, straight up, because I was so angry at being able to graduate from high school and 2 years of Lehman College without being able to read and write. So I was angry at that. So I went and did this, spent 15 years in the libraries around the world on my own, you know, to actually learn something. Because I read that Lincoln and quite a few other famous people never went to school. The most famous people, like our brother, Tyson. Mike Tyson's our brother. Mike Tyson,
Mike
I don't think
Tyson
he
is
went to
your
school.
brother?
Yeah, the boxer.
The
He didn't
boxer
go to-
Mike Tyson is your brother?
Yes.
Oh my goodness. Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
So
And yeah, that's a fascinating story. Just
Yeah. And he's
anyway.
good with his hands, and I'm very good with my hands.
Wow. So you
So
know
it's
you
in-
and you're using it you're using the energies in different ways.
Right.
You know.
Right.
Exactly.
Very interesting.
Yes.
this is a copy of my new book, and in here, which I don't have many copies anymore, but I do have PDF files.
And it's called The Sacred Self.
Your Sacred Self, which is the sequel to other books that I had, Secret Self and so forth. But in here, you'll see a picture of the polarities between male and female energies. And those polarities are, you'll see the root chakra, which is red. We know that's the lower chakra,
That's
where the
right.
sexual energy is channeled. The female always has a negative symbol there, whereas the male always has a positive symbol, because she's extremely magnetic. We can compare her to the black hole
Okay.
that's in space, and we compare the man to the sun, who projects out energy.
Right.
Right,
So,
right.
but there's
So
a
one's
lot.
receiving, one's giving.
Exactly.
Exactly, exactly. So, and you'll always notice that, and trees are the same way. I also study trees. If you see the leaves pointing down, that means the tree is female.
Oh wow.
If you see the leaves pointing up, that means the leaves are male. Because what happens when a male gets excited? He points up.
It points
Sure.
up.
Right. Female, what did Evelyn Champagne King say?
Love,
Love
come
come
down.
down.
All the way down.
Love come down, okay? If you're a man out there and you're looking for a correct female, always keep your eyes above the shoulders.
That's
when You're
right.
talking to a woman. Never go looking all down there, and I mean, that's gonna gross her out. I mean, when a woman does that to me, it grosses me out. So now, in order to really attract her, you're gonna keep your eyes above the shoulders.
Exactly.
You see?
But isn't that just
Right.
polite anyway?
Oh yeah.
I mean, when's the last time you saw that? Or heard of it?
Well, I don't know. These days, young people have changed, like in terms of their
Not just
pickup
young.
lines.
I mean, I grew up in New York City from the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, into now, and it's rare. I'm a Harlemite. I am a true Harlem New Yorker.
That's right.
Cool.
I've
We
seen
love
it.
Harlem.
Okay, and travel all over. You can imagine. I can imagine. I've been to London, Brixton, the hood.
That's where I'm from, Brixton.
Yeah.
Brixton is the place. Yeah,
Yeah.
Brixton to
cool.
Brooklyn.
So,
around
so
there.
yes, it's rare. It's rare. So yeah, it should be polite, you know, but it actually has to be taught. If you have your children walking around with their pants and tail out, they have to be taught that now, okay? Because apparently they're making asses out of themselves. They don't grab the information. Nothing. I'm not trying to put them down or anything like that, but pull your pants up. Pull your pants up. It is not attractive.
No.
And we're being mind controlled to think it's attractive because the women are going all for it. So it's not good, right? What we're seeing.
But there's so many of us who are saying it's crazy, but yet, you know, there's almost like this divide where it's happening and it's a constant thing everywhere you go.
You see it everywhere.
Yeah, but why would you say, you know, why energetically is the advice to talk above the shoulders outside of being
Because her
polite?
energy field is up here. Her energy is up here. Her energy is not functioning from down here at the time when you
No.
meet. You're not from okay. If you meet a woman, say I don't know, in a bar, what you don't want to do, you know, you want to meet your woman in a library,
Poetic club. or something.
museum. You know, you don't want to go to the club.
No.
Okay, that's not a good place. Okay, because you'll probably wind up getting clubbed. So from the neck up is where she's functioning from at the time, because her energy, the way her energy flows in her body, moves from the back and comes down the front. So it stops here. The man, because his penis rises, the energy flows the opposite direction. And that's why you have the negative and the positive symbol. Now, as far as the pants down and all that, that's mind control. Started with Marky Mark and Calvin Klein on 42nd Street on a billboard.
It sure did.
Okay, and it continues as mind control with the perpetuation of Jason Collins. uh, Chris, what's his name? Chris Cross.
Right. They
Chris
had their
what?
clothes backwards.
Did you say Chris Cross?
And who
Cross what?
recently
Cross
passed
dressing?
away.
Right,
Mandela,
exactly.
right?
And we're going to get deeply into that ritual. That is a major homosexual ritual that's being imprinted on our youth. And I'm going to break it down to the T. Okay? So, Chris Cross, which he was what, 23?
34.
34.
34.
Which
Yeah.
was the same age as Collins, 34.
Well, Collins, yeah, exactly.
And his number was 34
his
in
number
Atlanta.
was 34.
We're
And
talking
you-
about numerology now.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah, but just to show you how your sexuality is so powerful, and it has to be stagnated because it creates thoughts. Well, actually, it is thought, because every time you have an orgasm, it resonates at a frequency at 0.06 seconds. That is the same as tachyon energy. That is the same as a thought. So since your orgasm resonates the same as a thought and tachyon is thought in Egypt, which is Tahuti, which is mind, cosmic mind energy. Those three numbers, 666 or 0.06, is the resonation frequency of the orgasm and the thought, and that's why magically, sexually, they can merge and create something in physical reality.
So you're saying just by the act of having an orgasm, if your thought is in the right place for
Right.
creation, you can
Yes.
manifest something.
Exactly. And sometimes we think about the same thing, you know, like a stack of money or something on the table, you know, just
Wow,
kind of,
wow.
you know,
It always works.
Oh, a
It's
stack
just
of
a
money.
matter-
That's a good one.
If
So
we
yeah,
need it,
just-
if we
if
need
you
it.
need it, if you only at
Yeah.
during
Help.
perfect times. Yeah, but I mean, it's interesting because a lot of people are now having this conversation, especially a few years back when The Secret came out and Oprah, was on Oprah show, and suddenly it became this big thing about how we can actually manifest our realities by feeling the thoughts and actually bringing it into existence. And so the same true of negativity. If you're constantly saying I'm broke, I'm in debt, you're going to bring a lot more
you'll stay that
brokenness.
way because
Yeah.
you're putting that out into the universe.
But are you saying it's magnified through the sexual
Yes,
relationship?
it's very
Absolutely.
big. It's very, very big. And it's a lot bigger than what we can go into on the short time that we have. Suffice it to say, for people watching this show, and you're married or you have a couple, make sure when you have your first child or any children that you love each other. It's very important for a successful child. Most of what you see, crime and so forth, are people who had children that didn't love each other. That love element makes the child successful. There's a time of the year to have children where in the summer months and the spring months, the air, the land is full with fruit. So you don't really want to have it become impregnated in the winter months. You see, those are little things that are just not available in the consciousness of our youth. If you tell them this right now, they don't want to hear this.
No.
You see, so someone may be watching this show, have a school workshop class or something that they could take the students after school, read up on what I'm talking about, and don't go by what I'm saying. Just read up on it, and present that to. We got to begin somewhere. Something has to happen because it's I go out and I see the dirt and the grime. I'm out on the street. Well, not as much as I used to be, but almost every day dealing with the community. Almost every day, and no one has a clue to what sexuality is all about,
Right.
and love. Love is extremely key. Extremely.
Strong
That's how your
energy.
soul grows.
Absolutely, and it's the energy.
It's
It's
the energy.
the main energy, right? And
That's what it is.
it's interesting how, as well, you mentioned the conditioning at the beginning of our conversation, and with young people, in their relationships, I've just seen how they interact, and it's so much different even from my time as a young person, as a teenager.
Right.
Just in that it's just more abrupt and raw, and there's nothing up with just getting straight down to business. There's nothing, coy, or, you just don't have to be that way anymore. And I'm not quite sure if it's just about, social media and just being free to have that, persona of self online. So you become more, more boisterous, but also the music that's, saying, I remember when 50 Cent first came out, it's like, okay, taking just talking about taking pills in clubs and then going, with a chick just for the sake of that, for that moment, and then moving on to the next. And, girls going, okay, well, I'm done with that. That's, and it's so it's a whole different attitude coming from all different areas of society.
Right.
So when it then comes to the energy, is that also manipulating the energy that we can't see?
Yes, by all means. There are forces. I mean, the technological age is very important too, and very significant, because based on technology, it's so advanced now that you could actually see a ghost, which you couldn't see 100 years ago.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's the cell phone. It's the waves that come through the cell phones, television, and multimedia. You have to protect yourself. Okay, it functions on a wave ELF. They called it extremely low frequencies. Extremely low means very low. When you're sleeping, you have spring mattress, and the energy flows up. The reason for spring mattress was mind control. It's not to comfort you. If you look in other countries, they don't know what a spring mattress is. Okay, unless you ship it to them.
But the spring mattress gives some type of energy through the.
Well, they have coils
the
that
coils.
spirals the energy up through your body.
Right.
And they could control your dreams. And they go, this is a test from the emergency broadcast system. It's everywhere. Unfortunately, we can't talk about it all, but suffice to say that there's definitely a deep level of programming and mind control, not only through the electronics, but through the food. Okay,
Right.
there's a lot of estrogen in a lot of foods today. Estrogens will create, especially in a lot of sodas and things like that, will make men have breasts. I used to play basketball, and I used to eat a lot of bread, because bread has a lot of estrogen.
Right.
And they said, okay, you're going to be the skins today. I said, oh, no, I don't want to take on, that man titties and whatnot. You know what I'm saying? I had to say, yeah. So I said, no, I got to fix this problem, And I learned that it's what you put in your mouth represents who you are. Your features represent your thoughts. Everything that you are represents your soul. So you're a very important and very powerful person in this physical reality, and you can't look at yourself as any less.
Right.
Absolutely. But then, we're taught to basically denigrate ourselves just from, from birth, really. Like, you can't do that, or if you do that, this, and, all of these different things which are instilled in us from our parents and all of their negative ways, and you just suddenly find yourself doing those same things.
Programmed.
Parents
like
have to come back and take over their children's curriculum. Because if you go and you look at Public Law 98-88, it specifically states that the primary education of a child belongs to the parent. Okay, we've lost that. Okay, and the Europeans are taking their kids out of school in huge numbers. Sandy Hook. They're taking them out in huge numbers, and they are training them at home. Okay, but we trust people who we never could ever trust to help us and educate us on African sexuality, I guess you want to call it. But we trust them to do that. I didn't learn anything in hygiene. In grade school in hygiene, except one thing. My female teacher told me. She said, "The female is dirtier than the man." I said, well, what
Is what?
Dirtier than a man.
Yeah.
When I
That's
first
the only
heard that,
thing.
I was like, what?
This is a black woman telling me this, and I never forgot it. It had a serious impact on me because I still remember it to today.
So when we're talking about sexual relationships, and especially when it comes down to young people, with, it's, how do we, what is the conversation? What really is the conversation? Because a lot of, people say, I remember growing up and it was like, you don't talk about sex and just basically just don't do it, basically.
Yeah, exactly.
And now there's the internet. So you either need to have a conversation or the internet will teach your child, just it's a different world.
Right.
So, and now on top of that, as you said, we have this whole energy systems as well, which influence all of our relationships. So how would we really kind of encourage young people to have meaningful relationships that exist outside of, just seeing somebody or something that just comes and goes?
I think the best way to teach youth is the same way you teach women. You don't go home to your wife and say, hey, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. No, you shut up. Do it. You don't have to say anything. Just do it. Okay? Your aura, your energy, and you doing the job teaches a lot of people. So I tell people who have problems with relationships, why are you trying to tell her to watch this tape and do this and do that? No. You have to do it, okay? And she learns by your success. That's it, okay? Tomorrow we're gonna go here, we're gonna get on this, we're gonna find this, we'll get this amount of money. Oh, come on now, shut your mouth.
You know, that is true because farmers market, you know, the farmers market, I didn't know anything about the farmers market until I met my husband. You know, and I remember it was this red plum. It looked like a plum. It was very red. And he said, try this. And I was like, ew. But I tried it, and now I love it. And, you know, plus the redness of it it's good for your blood, you know, your menstrual, you know, and everything, your skin, you know. So that's all we eat now. We go to the farmer's market every Saturday and Wednesday now and get our food that way. You know,
because what you put in your mouth has to coordinate.
Exactly, and I always said if it had a mouth, it doesn't go in mine.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
and watch your waters.
Oh yeah.
Okay, Poland Spring. It's pretty much you might as well just go drink from the gutter. You know,
really? I mean,
yes,
because a lot of people trust.
I want people to know because gotta be. People don't like the truth. But you have to know these things. You have to know to begin to change your life. They put programs in these water with thought programs, and I have an article in my book breaking down the Prozac and all of that stuff they put in there because they have to have you accepting these things you see.
I mean, because I was concerned with fluoride, and especially in America, you have really high levels of fluoride in your tap water. But you know, when you actually discover everything else that's in the water that really can create so much lethargy and impotence and so many other things that it's, you know, you start to wonder like, well, what's the best source of actually, you know, bringing in nutrition to into your body?
You have to learn, you have to teach yourself, and there is a lot of nutritional things out there, and you just have to know what they are and how to get them. And usually you'll have to go to a farmer's market, not a supermarket. Supermarket, you know where a supermarket came from? They used to put rats in these mazes, and they would run around. And they decided to create supermarkets based on that principle.
So we're like rats.
Because it looks like a maze.
Yes, running around in a maze. So begin to eat naturally. When you see the sun come up, and that sun is yellow, whatever color it is, that's what you eat. If it's orange, eat oranges, mangoes, whatever. If the sun is yellow, then eat all your yellow foods. And as it goes down, it gets orange again, then it goes all the way to the darkest color, which is like a red.
Or grapes.
And there you are. Grapes is the nightshades. I mean, it's really pretty much a simple program. You just have to, it's in your face.
Right. And with the water, you can also squeeze a lime into the water, right?
Yes, to alkaline it.
Yeah, to alkaline it.
Yeah. It creates an alkaline response in the body.
Sure.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, when we talk about relationships, and there's, you know, some of our audience out there who would be like, oh, okay, I'm just at this point of trying to wean myself off the unhealthier foods where it's easier just to quickly go out and buy the takeaway and instead of cook my own food, but I want to do this, but my partner is quite content with whatever we're eating at the moment. You know, in terms of this relationship thing that we're talking about, how do you kind of encourage one another, or how do you make those changes when you have two people, you know, at odds with each other in terms of what one considers
lots of love,
enjoyment,
and not only that, he does all the cooking.
Oh, good.
When I do cook, I normally don't
when he does,
cook,
right?
Because cooked food is not so.
Exactly, because I don't even go into the kitchen. If I want water, you know, I'll say, "Baby, bring me some water."
Yeah.
You know, so I don't do kitchen.
As far as connecting with the youth and how can they respond to these type of things, and that is, you're not going to force your own reality on another person.
No.
I mean that's absolutely that's idiotic.
Beyond.
You know, when I die, where you gonna be at? You know, but you don't force your reality onto other people. You look at those things that, as I teach a lot of people to draw a list on each side of the list, pros and cons. Write what you do like and write what you don't like. If what you do like is longer, then you need to be with her. If your don't likes is longer, then you have to move on. So you can assess that yourself without anyone helping you. But at the same time, compassion and love, there are some things that represent you. So you may not eat meat, but maybe your husband does. You have to say to yourself, what's in me that I am reflecting like a mirror out my male energy that eats meat? And deal with it from your own perspective, not with him, it's with you, because you attracted that.
So now this idea of attraction, I think, is very interesting because it's sometimes hard to swallow that, you know, whatever you bring into your life, somehow you attracted it, because sometimes things are just not the things that you want.
Right.
So
So it's said. That's not necessarily true. It's you only have one mind. Your whole brain did, but you have levels of subconscious imaging and trauma that are thoughts that attract those things. And you'll say to yourself, I didn't like that, I didn't want that. Well, you didn't like the first one either. But it's still there. And it magnetized into the new one. So you have to learn that lesson. You must learn that lesson or it repeats. And it's harder because your own soul says, you know what, I didn't get it the first time. Let it happen again. You see? So it's always you.
And it actually reminds me of, sorry to bring it there, but it was a Beyonce song where she says, there'll be another you in a minute. Matter of fact, he'll be here in a minute.
Right.
So, and it's just like, you know, so you're getting rid of the last guy, but bringing in the same.
You can't do
You
that
can't
either.
do that. You have
Yeah.
to heal.
You have to heal. You need years. You need time away from, because you got to understand something. If you watch, there's a show called Maury and all these other shows with DNA tests. You have to understand that men leave behind a germ. And you may not be pregnant at the time, but when you get with this new guy, his semen awakens the sperm of the old guy.
Right.
So
That can
then you get
happen,
the
I
not
get
the
it.
father thing now.
Yeah, that's why they're so shocked. The women are so shocked. Like, how
Yeah.
could that be?
Yeah,
That
because
leftover germ.
Men leave behind, because semen is looked at as a germ. It lives in the crevices of the womb. It's called a moon child
Right.
because the ovaries are moons. So you go meet a guy, you just broke up, you go meet a guy, sleep with him, and now all of a sudden it's not his kid, and you don't know why.
We're told that the sperm dies within 10 days.
No, it doesn't. Yes, you're taught that, exactly. You're taught that. The sperm has within it a germ that could live for a very long time, especially if it's a very promiscuous woman. Now, when she has more than 1 to 2 lovers, her mind becomes scattered and she loses focus and she don't know who she is anymore, because semen are male thoughts that comes from the brain. Those male thoughts come from the brain into the woman,
Right.
and she begins to not only maybe have some of the energy he has, but whoever else and so now she's bugging out. 'Cause
Scattered.
yeah. So we got to have some kind of compassion with that also with our women. But now the men, if they have many lovers, what happens is they become weak.
They're losing the brain
and they could be
fluids.
more controllable.
Exactly.
You see, so I know a lot of people will talk about polygamy and all of that, but I say there are 2 aspects to polygamy that says that it really didn't exist. One is it was tribal, meaning that everybody in the tribe, every child in the tribe belonged to every woman and every man, and every woman in the tribe belonged to every man. Okay, so it was a tribal thing, whereas every child had 100 fathers, 100 mothers. You had that aspect of it. Then you had the Moorish aspect of it, which was when you have sex with a woman and you penetrate her, you just married her. Okay? And she could divorce you by having sex with another woman, another man.
Right.
So
And
that was the
the-
union. Okay.
Yes, right. So I couldn't really see how polygamy existed, because even with a man, at one point, there was a time when if he went and had sex with another woman, he just divorced his previous woman. But later, it changed into when he had sex with another woman, he took on another wife, so she had to go and have sex with another man to divorce him.
Wow, and this is like it's a cultural thing that evolved over time, and now we see ourselves in this century
Right.
with this dynamic where everyone talks about marriage, but it's this sort of paper contract, but
Right.
really it has so much significance on the relationship, but really what does it actually mean in actuality?
It means you are a commodity.
Right.
Those are, it means that we have come and we've destroyed all your gods, and now you have to call all your gods devils, and you have to come and get a social security number and a birth certificate and a marriage license so we can make money off of you when you won't want to be together no more, and all of that. So that has become a form of slavery. So that's totally not what I'm talking about at all. So and you're going to have to get away from that because that world is falling very fast. I think they're getting rid of traffic court. There's things going on in the world. You better keep your eyes open and look around you. You don't want to be tied up anymore. If you see your name in all capital letters, you want to try to fix that, okay? Because that represents your straw man, which is your company. So you may go someplace that you're not dealing under your corporation name at the time, but you'll see it in all caps as a corporation. It's a big difference between the lower and upper caps as far as who you are, as far as your status, as far as your sovereignty, as they say.
Right.
Same thing like the money.
So
Not
this
to
is
go
like
off onto
this
other
is
things,
our
but-
yeah. So this is our when it gets down to our identity and how we're basically perceived by the government in terms of being a pawn. In
I wouldn't say the
system.
government. I would say
Bigger than that.
I would say there are always other entities out there. I don't care where you go, whether they're spiritual or physical. There's always entities out there that don't like what your light is shining on them. So here's what I would say. When you take out a dollar bill and you look at it, it says Federal Reserve note, backed by the United States government. But if you take a silver dollar and you look at that, it says United States of America.
Or a silver certificate.
Yes, and they
Wow.
still
Right.
print out of the mint silver dollars. But you have another company printing paper dollars. Two different companies. One's America, one is not, one of the bankers. So it's up to you what you want to use. If you want one of these silver dollars that the United States make, give me 40 Federal Reserve notes for it. There's a big difference.
So there's a different.
So the silver
value.
represents the
course.
sovereignty. The paper money, you have to agree to do that. To be a slave, birth certificate and all of that.
Right.
Pay taxes and stuff.
Wow. So we find ourselves in this system, and then like within that system, we're now trying to at least survive by finding our perfect match. And you know, there's all of these sites now, and a lot of my friends actually have found success in finding their match on these different type of sites where find your partner.
Definitely,
and
no doubt about it.
Cupid and all of that. And it seems really quite interesting because when they found just normal interactions with people, it takes a lot of time to find out, well, what are you about? What do we have in common? But through these sites, they just gone through, this kind of filter and churn out the right type of person for them. So how much of that is actually to do with energy and more to do with, or is it more to do with just what we like in the categories that we find ourselves in? I like this, I listen to this music, and I go to this place, and I'm of this age.
Yeah. Well, that again, when you look at those things, technology is good and it's bad. It's bad because it does things to the human body, but it's also good because you're able to. There's a word called if you do something, if or if not. The word if can be, we could attribute that to the computer as an index file. So you could go online and if or when, and you have to choose between these things, but we have to realize that a lot of women are missing milk carton kids. This has also opened up a big area for serial killers,
Pedophiles.
craze, all kind of things. So be aware of that. Be very aware of that because not only did the camera expose ghosts to you, but it also exposed demons. You see? So you have to use your intuitiveness. And in my opinion, I mentioned two places where, you go to the museums, you go to the parks, you go to events.
Libraries.
And try to, and mainly try to deal with people that you either met through someone or know, or in some kind of way know them. And then the energy has to be compatible. You can't just like them because it's a man talking to you and you never talk to a man. You're 14 or 15. And so they're excited, their hormones and all of that when you're dealing with puberty. And that's a very dangerous time. And that's when the parents have to be really on them. Puberty can be very powerful. It actually causes poltergeist. When you see the movie Poltergeist, that's actually the sexual energy of. It was a little girl in that movie, but usually when those things happen, it's the sexual energy of a child that just gets shot all over the place. If you take a child 15, 16, and what they do is they put them in jail with these orange suits on, what's going to happen? They come out with their pants down, and because that sexual energy is just bouncing all over those walls there. You see, and so only thing they could say is, "Yeah, I've been in jail. He got his pants down."
Yeah.
I mean, when I was growing up, I've never been to jail, but I know people who have. You better not go to jail with your pants down.
It's an open
you better
invitation.
not do that. You see, so it's mind control, and that poltergeist energy that they use like those cameras. There's a wave going out. They can actually put that energy on the wave as it
With all
flows
the
into
different frequencies.
Yes, right.
And so, and when you talk about frequencies and then the I guess the love energy, which contrasting with this other energy, which I guess if I imagine poltergeist, I think negative energy.
No, it's not negative. It's just an energy.
It's just an energy, right?
Everyone has to go through it.
Okay, so and it's all operating around us. So I'm now kind of in my mind creating this visual space, and imagining that, the I guess the dark matter, which is the majority of the universe that we can't see, is all around us somehow. Part of all of our interactions. The reason why we're here today. But then, how my thing is, it's like it seems like, okay, we can harness this, but what would be the steps that you would take if you're say, not kind of savvy with all the chakras, and you're sensitive to something, but you're not going out to buy crystals, and you haven't got to the point of having a beautiful ankh on tattooed on your forehead. What would be those steps to try to interact more with this metaphysical, energetic world to find the love? Because there's so many people out there who are seeking, and in fact, they feel more desperate now because they see everyone else like starting to pair up, and they feel like the clock is ticking, and they're told by society the clock is ticking. Where's your mate? Partner up, come on.
Right. Well, you have to know yourself too. You have to really, like I said, go deep inside yourself. And like he mentioned, you have that list there, the pros and the cons of what you like. It could deal with your everyday life too. Like I remember writing a list saying, I want to learn how to drive, like my greatest fears. I wrote those down, and things like that, and I conquered them all. And like little different things that I wanted to do, like get my passport. It could be probably something small to someone else, but it was major to me. But I remember checking everything off. I think I had about 15 things up there. And one of the things was to find, husband, compatibility, and things like that, and it happened. The list is in the garbage now, long time.
But the key has to be love. Yeah.
It does have to be love.
And love is variations on that. You could love someone to death. You could love, you could love a flower. I mean, there are different variations on love. So love has to permeate the heart. That's how your soul grows. Your soul can actually die and burn out. People don't know that. Your soul can actually burn out like a match. So you have to keep it lit. And the only thing that will keep it lit is love.
Right.
And is that the love you're saying between, by creating a partnership and,
No, it's beyond partnership. It's way big. It could be a pet. It could be a flower. It could be. I have a tree that I love. Hug it every day.
Tree huggers. Great.
Yep, exactly.
So love is very key and is needed.
Awesome. So when it comes to women as well, we look at this new kind of balance in society where women's role is starting to become more prominent. But when we look at the energies, women are the main feature in terms of procreating.
Yes,
right?
of course.
So now, how does that influence, a relationship, and especially when it comes down to, what you guys might be discussing tomorrow at your event?
Great question.
Yeah, it is.
Well, of course, the male has the seed within him, and she actually incubates the seed. Okay, we put the seed in her, and she incubates the seed. Okay. So now the key, like I said before, to all of that is how and why. What are the energies that you're imprinting that seed with that's going to go inside of her? And because that's a child that chose you. That's not just a random piece of zoo type. It's a person that said, she and this person has the energy I need to make it through my destiny in the physical world, that I need to know these teachings. Okay? Now, if we don't love each other and we have that child, it will deter them because I won't be with her, for one, okay? And that's not why he came here. He came here for the two, okay? So since that happened, and if we do say, for instance, the child cannot make it through that particular life stream, they attract death. They'll attract whatever comes their way, because the world is a mirror. Am I making sense of this? Okay, so the female has to, because when she is with child, her hormones change, and the male has to understand the science of the woman. If he doesn't understand that, he gets upset and says, I don't know why she does this, you don't know why she crying, yelling, and da 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 da. No, you just don't understand what's going on. Okay? I remember when my son was being born, and this is in a previous marriage. And I was waiting for the baby to come out, and she just goes, get the hell. And she just started, I thought I was like with the Evil Dead or something, you know? I didn't know what was going on, you know? I was like, what the hell is this, you know? And then I realized that based on all that was going on with her in her body, had to have a C-section and all of that, and all the drugs, because I have no knowledge, of course, it messed up her whole spirit, you see? So home birth is the new way to go, you know? So we need, if there's any sisters out there looking for jobs, train in home births. It's going to be very, very big, okay? It's going to be just like nursing is right now. It's going to be very big and extremely sought after. Yes,
okay.
Because people want that. Okay.
And they want that as opposed to, because they're just...
As opposed to the hospital.
Right, because it's natural.
Because of the natural
you know, and once the baby comes out,
who wants to go, the hospital
it's good to be held by someone you know.
And this is an aside, but I just recently read about, you know, a lot of people opting to not cut the umbilical cord, and the connection actually that it feeds the baby, maybe even, you know, up to 10 days with continuous nutrients, and you know, and there's a lot of people saying, oh, this could be dangerous, it could cause infection.
It could, yeah.
But there seems to be a lot of different new ways of thinking and being, and in fact, even with the sciences, like metaphysics and everything, there's a new whole thought system that really throws out the old curriculum of the times of what we were studying in schools, right?
Sexuality does not get old.
No.
It's been the same since the beginning of time. The basic concept of a black hole in the sun, okay, it does not change. We change. And so what? We have to be constantly taught. Need more. And there are a few teachers like myself, and even better, that speak on this subject. Matter of fact, I have a flyer for one that's coming up very soon. Reverend, the Reverend Phil Valentine will be here with King Simon.
Okay, that's on June the 16th. So
Right.
that's where will that be happening?
At the
That's at the
Black
National
Theater.
Black Theater in Harlem on
Okay, that's
125th
National
Street.
Black Theatre. Wonderful. Okay,
then
and
this
that's
is-
how to recognize mind control methods and that type of information.
Yes.
And also with your show,
Yes.
your event, that's tomorrow. That's Sunday, May the 5th.
Right.
So, and sexual relationships and its magical effects on our lives. When you say magical, you know, it conjures up magical things to me. What
Well,
do you mean?
sex is magic.
It is.
Every person that ever has sex are performing magic.
Right, and it was magical
Why?
how we met and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why is that? Because sex can bring forth a whole human being. The rabbit out of the hat.
Sure.
Also, we have coming up with Africa Bambaataa, the Zulu Nation, and the date is on there. I think that's in June.
This is
July?
Is it July? Yeah.
Yeah. So, where can they find out more information about that?
Okay, you have a website on there and so forth.
Okay, great. So, how do people find you? So, you know, they want to know more.
I have a website, azazel.com,
Okay, so
emmajade.com.
okay, and so just to spell that out for our
It's,
audience.
It's ma-jade.com. And I'm also on Facebook under Sister Majade. So it's SISMA-JADE Majade. You just say it twice.
So
Sister Majade.
Okay, Sister Majade.
Right, and you'll see a lot of my creations. Like I said, I take people's thoughts. You know, sometimes I have dreams, and it could be a thought floating my way, and I'll just get up and I'll create it. You know, a lot of people want phalluses or, you know, things like that. And I have one here, and it's also an organ. And he mentioned the springs underneath the bed. You know, if you put an organ underneath the bed, that'll help a
It'll stop,
lot.
yeah.
It'll stop a lot of negativity, especially if you put a heart-shaped one. You'll be making love all the time.
Oh, wow.
We have about 3 under there.
Wow, wow.
Yeah, but this is the phallus that I made, and it has magnets on it. You know, it's magnetic pearls, and I put the hair there, and the organ.
That's for a particular customer.
Right, this is for a
And that's
particular
for a
customer.
I was just about to ask you, do
Right.
you make
It-
customize these things for
Exactly.
people?
I mainly do customized pieces because a lot of people don't do that, I don't think. But, you know, like I said, as long as I have the visual or you give me a drawing, it's done.
Sure
It's
they
a
will.
done deal. And
The other penis.
And this,
oh, that's
you're
right.
using different crystals as well.
Oh,
You said
right.
you have the penis.
And these are the organs, if you get a chance. That we
The
make.
organs.
Yeah.
When you say organs, explain what an organ is. Can I touch these?
I don't know if we have time for that.
Well, that's,
Oh, no.
that's
You
the
have, like,
organ
2
right there.
minutes.
Yeah, but if you come to the lecture tomorrow, I'm going to be breaking down organ and sexual energy, because you can't really talk about sexual energy without talking about organ.
Exactly.
Okay.
Because
so
it is
that's-
sexual energy.
Right, and there are different stones that you can use. You could put under your pillow to help with your, you know, sexual techniques and what have you.
Wow. Because, you know, and a lot of people talk just mainly about, you know, other phallic symbols, but this is seems like a very interesting way to incorporate this into
Powerful
Exactly.
energy
into your
there.
life. You know,
Right.
rather, you know, people talk about dildos and stuff like that, but this is actually, you know, it's almost like it's bringing it back to.
Historically speaking, we wore penises around our neck, conquering the enemy.
For fertility as
Actually, you can go into the Bible, and the Bible talks about cutting off all the penises and wearing them as necklaces.
well. Right.
Wow, and that's good for for what?
Fertility.
Not a good idea. these
Yes, it's just like the obelisk or the Tekken.
things. Okay.
It's an energy.
Oh yeah, right.
Right.
And so then, you know, and we see it in the Washington Monument and all
Right.
these things.
Exactly.
So we're just about to end our wonderful show, Ancestor House, and it's
Yes.
absolutely wonderful to have you both
Thank you
on
very
the
much.
show. Tomorrow, of course, at Nicholas, that's in Brooklyn, and that's happening at what time?
About 3 o'clock.
Yeah, at 3 p.m. Doors open at 2 p.m. and that's 570 Fulton Street. So that's near Flatbush Avenue. So you can
Right.
go and find out more with these
Yes.
two
A
wonderful
lot more.
people.
I'm
A
going to be
lot
going
more.
into some powerful stuff.
Wonderful. This is mine. This is mine. So Ancestor House, I've been left with these
Good,
wonderful
thanks.
things.
Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank
Awesome.
you.
Thank you
Yeah,
so much.
what a wonderful,
Yes.
absolutely
Thanks
wonderful.
for
I've learned
having
something
us.
new today.
Yes.
This
The X chromosome?
X chromosome. So this is
And
what
then
I
the
do
Y.
to.
Yes.
I
You-
always
no,
do
you
the
do the
same.
Y to me,
Oh, I do the Y to you,
and I do the X to you.
and you do the X to me.
And then
okay.
when you meet another female, you do the X.
I do the X. Okay.
Yes.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah.
Oh my God. So right, I have to. I'm your next customer.
Okay.
Because I
Sounds
promise
good.
this is. I'm so bad. This is like my last year's birthday present to my husband. That he was like, all I want is, you know, a pendulum with a stone. I think maybe his
Oh, she can do
birthstone.
it. She can
So he can wear it around his neck.
Of course.
Yeah. So be wonderful. So yeah. So absolutely wonderful.
Yes.
See you guys tomorrow.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yes.
You're very
X
welcome.
and Y.
Thank you.
This
Enjoyed
is
it.
Ancestor House.
Yes, yes, yes.
Until next time.
Thank you. Enjoy myself.
Thank you.
You guys